Season 2 of Invincible takes a bit of a tumble in episode 2. Sadly, it's a bit of a letdown from the heights of the first episode. Still fairly good, just too much Mills and Boone style drama instead of superhero action. Mark spends much of the first half dealing with Doc Seismic, who has decided to return all buildings made of stone back to Mother Earth, starting with the Washington Monument. Doc Seismic is never going to be a good villain, as he seems more like a mental health victim rather than a credible threat. So you know Invincible is never going to crack open his head. I mean, in this battle, he knocks him from the top of the monument to his certain death, and his hover belt fires off just at the right time to save his life. Boo! Mark almost misses his high school graduation hosted by Carl Winslow, but he makes it just in time. Next up, we get a boring scene where the kids talk about what they're going to do with themselves for the next few months until university starts up. It's boring and drags the show down. I don't care, and Mark is right there with me. He can't even drink because he has to be on duty with Cecil. Livingston, the astronaut who was taken over by the Secoids, is trying to fit in and doing a terrible job of it. The other astronauts are debating sending Invincible to finish the Martians off. He can't work for the US Space Administration anymore. I wonder if we'd take him in the Australian Research and Space Exploration team. Adam Eve is helping people who were made homeless by Omni-Man and Mark's fight. She's putting a building back together, and the foreperson says, "How do we know that it's up to code?" Yes, thank you. But the locals tell the forelady where to go, and they're glad someone is doing something. Like they've just been sitting on their hands. More garbage with Mark's mum trying to get involved in his life. Cecil pulls him out of it though by calling him to duty. Immortal is working the Guardians to the bone with training, and Rex has had enough. He hears Duplicate in the showers and asks her if she can kiss something better. She's incensed. How dare he speak like that in the workplace? Meanwhile, she's having a foursome in the showers with Immortal. Who's being appropriate in the workplace? I would have thought these lefty producers would maybe pull their heads in after sitting idly by while watching the likes of Harvey Weinstein have the run of the place. But they just can't stop excusing inappropriate relations in the workplace, even while berating the white man for hinting at it. They're even promoting abuse of a power imbalance. Immortal is Duplicate's boss. Livingston is watching documentaries about Martian Man, the Martian superhero, and gets the idea that he could use his shape-shifting to earn money as a superhero. This scene even sets up a future storyline by mentioning the death of the King of Atlantis. Nicely done. Mark gets sent to Midnight City to report on Darkwing, who has been sighted even though he was killed by Omni-Man. He's been spotted in Midnight City. A nice little bit of exposition and world building showing that this universe is more than just the here and now but has a backstory. Darkwing can enter the shadows literally. He drags Invincible into the Shadowverse and threatens to leave him there. But Darkwing Duck can't resist gloating and gets caught by Invincible, forcing him to release him from the Shadowverse. Mark's mum goes to tell Cecil to let Mark be a kid, but she gets distracted by Donald being alive and well. More interpersonal rubbish with Eve visiting her parents because her mum sounds upset. Turns out they're light on funds because her dad lost his job and now he works at a burger joint. But he refuses to make use of anything Eve can provide because he thinks that it's too easy and there's always a price to pay with her magic. Eve makes a golden apple and tells them to sell it for cash monies. Yet more fascinating interpersonal drama with Mark taking Amber to the Eiffel Tower in Las Vegas for lunch. He can't fly her to Europe during lunch hour without her skin ripping off. But finally, Mark gets called away by Cecil. Mark has to marry the Queen of Atlantis to make up for murdering the king. The Atlanteans will start a war if he refuses. But it turns out they got rid of that silly rule, and now he has to fight a beast. It starts off as a cute little seahorse thing, but it's obviously like the bait of an anglerfish. And yep, it's some huge beast. Meanwhile, the Lizard League attacks, and the Guardians are sent to deal with them. But there's 2 Rex-splosions.
I'm seeing double here. 4
Rex-splosions. It's actually Livingston/Secoid that has changed shape and is now calling himself the Shapesmith. Mark's mum is trying to sell a house as a real estate agent, but the couple they are showing the house to is having a domestic. The man of the family is really laying it on thick with the misogyny. I'm surprised they were allowed to make him black. Debbie says she's not your pet under her breath, and he catches it, so her boss has to diffuse the situation. Debbie's not acting like a real estate agent at all, letting a little thing like morals get in the way of a sale. And yes, I get that Omni-Man referred to Debbie as more like a pet. It's just so ham-fisted. It was around this time that I realised I was drifting off, checking the latest weather on my phone. Not a good sign. Mark gets some help from Cecil in the form of torpedoes to take out the beast, but they just unshackle it. Cecil calls him back to base, saying this wasn't the deal, but Mark realises that now that the beast is free, it's killing the Atlanteans. So he heads back to help. Grabbing the rock that the beast is tethered to, he throws it down the trench from where it emerged. During the fight, the beast used a sonic attack. It was super effective. Cecil grabs a recording of it to use in case Mark turns against them. Donald wants to know why Debbie seemed distressed when she saw him. Does Donald suspect that he may be a clone? Turns out that Eve built that building on a sinkhole and it collapsed. But it only injured people, so it's okay. And the two people pictured in the newspaper just happened to be the two people who spoke to her when she put the building back together. What are the odds? Debbie skitters out at the broken cabinet and smashes it in a rage. Oh yeah, we've all been there. Shapesmith gets a tour of the Guardian's headquarters and describes just how normal his superhero origin is. The Supreme Lizard is giving a speech and midway gets shot through the head with the loudest, most startling gunshot I've ever heard on TV. Even on a second watch, it scared me.
I'm so startled.
King Lizard is back! But wasn't he in captivity? In a nice warm terrarium? Post-credit scene shows Angstrom Levy questioning a version of Mark from a reality where Earth managed to defeat Omni-Man and Invincible. There's even a female Cecil and Donald. Talk about polar opposites. But why is Mark not the opposite gender? Maybe only male superheroes can threaten the entire planet. This one was a bit of a lowering of the bar. I'm giving it a 7. Too much interpersonal stuff. Mark and his friends, Mark and his girlfriend, Mark and his mum, even her parents. I would have liked to have seen more superhero stuff. The parts with Eve trying to help but actually causing more harm would have been nice to explore further. The repercussions of past battles echoing through the present really adds depth to the world. I would also like a subtitle when they switch to a parallel universe, as it's going to make it hard to establish what is and is not canon. The animation was great again. There are a few scenes where you can see how the sausage is made. Static shots with just the lips moving, the undersea beast striking a pose with a wibbly-wobbly water effect over the top. Definitely shows them saving $1 or $2. But with the cast they have, I suppose I can understand the need to save money. It's not like the Marvel and Star Wars TV shows who have a cast of relative nobodies and cost $200 million a season. Thanks for watching. If you like what you saw, please consider subscribing. I release reviews occasionally when time allows, and a thumbs up would be a big motivator for further reviews. If you didn't like it, feel free to leave a thumbs down and let me know how I can improve in the comments below. Anyway, I'm Mixie, thanks for your time, and have a good one.